All right. Hey, everybody. Hello. Welcome to a live stream for the Interstellar Book Club. It is me and Tina today. Yay.
Hi.
Hi, Howell. It's here for the vibes. Nice. Awesome. So if you are new here, welcome for some reason. This is the Interstellar Sci-Fi Book Club that's been going 4.5 years strong. And today is me and Tina. We also have two other co-hosts that are not here with us for this month's review, and that's okay. We kind of rotate, pop in and out, depending on how the reading's going. So that's totally fine. So yeah. But if you're not already following everyone, please make sure to check out the description. Go follow Tina. Tina's amazing. So, should I give a description? Do you want to give a description, or should I try to give a description?
I think I read it like almost a month ago, so I would be more comfortable if you just did it, because I'm like, I can't remember all the intricate little details.
That's okay. It's a good, you know what? It's a good thing I literally read it like in the last 48 hours.
Refresh me in, because
Cat, hi, hello, Rora's here, Roro. Elephant. Oh. Okay, so Tusks of Extinction is a novella. It is literally 101-page story. It's very short. You could read it in a day. Hey, Ketchy's here. Hey. It's a really short novella. It is about a woman who is a scientist, and woolly mammoths are brought back by science, and a situation happens in which, because woolly mammoths are kind of let out into the wild and they were brought up, what's the word, in captivity, they didn't know how to survive on their own, so they're not successfully integrating into the wider habitat. And so scientists have to come up with a really strange, maybe unethical idea of how to teach the woolly mammoths how to woolly mammoth. And there is the plot, and some other things happen. So
yeah, a lot in this tiny little book. There's so much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot in this teeny tiny little book, so we have some things to talk about. But okay, so before we get into talking about this, I'll introduce what we're reading for the month of May.
Yes.
May. Okay, awesome. So for the month of May, we are reading I Got Abducted by Aliens and I'm Trapped in a Rom-Com, which I'm so excited for. I needed a little chaos in my life. I've heard this is so much fun, and the author is super sweet, so definitely check this out. PhD biologist is abducted by aliens and then rescued by a hot guy with horns, and then she's running away from dinosaurs, and she might have a pet lion. So that's
it does sound fun.
Yes, a lot happens. Yeah. Okay. Where should we start?
Did you like the book?
You know, okay. Here's the thing. I didn't dislike it.
Okay.
I feel I have mixed feelings, and I'm still processing them. I don't know. What did you think?
I loved it. It was my second favorite book of like the month, and I've read, I think I read 12 books. Yeah. I guess I should preface it by saying I am a really big environmentalist. So that also was a big part of it. There's a huge part about that in this book. I mean, I think it's basically the main argument of the book is about that. So for me, it hit all the chords that I like. So I also really like the style. Like, I don't know, everything about it, I just was like, oh, I love this. This is what I love.
Makes perfect sense.
And I won't be offended if you're like, I didn't like this part or whatever, obviously. So.
No, I don't. See, that's the thing, is like, there's nothing about the book that I disliked.
Yeah.
There's nothing about it that I disliked. Actually, I kind of wanted it to be a little longer.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I feel like it's a good book. I'm not like over the moon about it. I'm just like, it was a good read. It was
Yeah,
good.
I think that's fair. I mean, that's the thing. You can like sometimes I think books just because of how they're like, just even the way they're told, it's just they don't hit us the same way they hit other people. And I think that's kind of one of the great things about books is like, you know, you can love a book and I can love a book and love completely different books.
Yeah, I like you said, I think if you're someone is an environmentalist and like, I'm not saying that I don't care about these
No,
things,
of course, yeah.
but like if this is something that you're very passionate about, you will probably resonate with this more.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, this is like speaking to me.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of what is happening. Okay, so I'll just kind of explain a little bit deeper on the plot summary that I just kind of
Yeah, because there's like 3 main plots, I guess, or 4,
I think?
maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
we have. Well, okay. When the woolly mammoths are brought back, it is not the present. It's like 100 years in the future.
Yeah, something like that.
Right?
Yeah. I can't.
Oh, Kat loved it too. Yay.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So it's like 100 years in the future, and the person who is brought in to be the specialist to teach them how to woolly mammoth actually passed away 100 years in the like our time, I guess.
Yeah. So like her brain consciousness had been like uploaded into some kind of a storage.
Yeah. Yeah. Which also very scary because Elon Muskrat is trying to do something like that right now. And is also doing something like that right now where I think it's recently been successful with human people to help people who have physical disabilities to be able to use technology or something like that.
I remember listening to a podcast that talked about that, but like way back in like probably early in the year. So I know what you're talking about, but I have literally no specifics.
Yeah. So like he's working on getting here. That's scary to me. But anyway, we're there. Point is that her consciousness was brought back. Now it's not really elaborated how that's done. So if you're worried about how, this is in the book.
Yeah, it's more like we have the technology, but we're not going to explain it.
Yeah, that's not important. What's important is the environmentalism. So yeah. But anyway, she also, it was brutal what happened to her.
Oh my God, it was so gross.
It's like sad.
Like end of Braveheart gross. Like,
yeah.
You know, like if you know that movie, like what happens to him is kind of what happens to her.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Because it was poachers, right? The poachers got her because she's an anti-poacher.
Yeah.
Which
also made me question, like, well, how did they preserve that? But again, I'm sitting here thinking about how, but
I think she was I can't remember, but there was like an explanation very briefly about something about she wanted to do it because of something to do with the university she worked at, and something to preserve her. Oh God, I can't remember. Sorry, I have a little creature here who's decided to.
That's okay.
Anyway, ignore her.
Kat says,
yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. I was like, what do you mean?
Do you want to say
hi?
Hello.
My name is Marina.
Here, you can say hello on the internet. Or we don't put them online, but
Hello, my name.
Hi. We're talking about books with your mom.
Yes, your name is Marina. Can you go back and do your Play-Doh now?
Okay.
Bye.
She's like, I said what I need to say.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
So it's not supposed to have them here right now.
It's
but anyway.
okay. She's like, I did my job.
Yeah, I came and said my name and ran away.
But okay. Yeah, like eternal dictatorships. Like imagine if Putin could just keep us, or Kim Jong-un, or Orange Face.
Yeah, I was gonna say. That's kind of the most horrific. I mean, other than the poaching part, it's like the second most horrific part of the book.
No, absolutely.
And it's barely talked about. It's like not a part of the story. It's just like setting the political climate. It's wild.
Yeah. Which in a way I'm like, I'm not mad at the book for not expanding on that, because that wasn't the intention. But I feel like what I did appreciate is that the author did throw a couple nuggets in of, oh, you're probably going to be wondering about this loophole or whatever. Plug.
Yeah. One sentence here. It's like you have to like reread it to get them all, I think. I should have just reread it, and I didn't.
Yeah. So I was like, what? Excuse me? Right. Elaborate.
I think if it had been a novel, it would have been elaborated on.
Yeah.
I mean, you could like, you should just write a novel version that like blows out all the stuff in
Yeah.
more detail.
This could have easily been 200 pages.
Yeah, for sure. And still been in like the novella almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not mad about it though. I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't like, it was like one of those things where I'm like, I don't really care. It's like, I don't care how the Star Wars hyperdrives work. I don't care at all. Just tell me they work and I'm good.
Yeah. That's it.
I'm not really a hard sci-fi person, so I'm like, this is good for me.
That's valid. So, okay. So that's one. So that's the main part that's happening. Her
Yes.
brain has been brought into the woolly mammoth, and she's made the matriarch of woolly mammoths. Hi again. So she's made the matriarch of woolly mammoths, and the reason that she was chosen because she's like the leader in her field of, forget exactly what the word was.
I think it was studying elephants though, right? Like yeah. But then she becomes like more involved in the protection of them through her studies, I believe. I could just be like extrapolating from
Yeah, I think that's right. And because the whole idea is that that elephants are descendants of woolly mammoths, and so it's assumed that their habits
like their
are similar.
structure of how they run their communities or instincts, I guess, maybe similar. Yeah.
So the woolly mammoths are not actually woolly mammothing, they're actually elephanting. But like, I guess close enough,
Yeah.
Because then it's like they were also talking about what if we bring back, what was it? Some kind of wolf. And some kind of rhino.
Yeah, I can't remember what they were what that was. That was another throwaway line that was like it's like one or two lines they talk about it.
Yeah, they were basically talking about like bringing back other species if this is successful.
Yeah. But the reason why they brought this particular species back has like an insidious kind of note to it, right?
I don't remember. I think so.
Either. I thought that they were breeding them to sell.
Oh, yes.
Of them. But if they gave enough parts of them to the government would allow the rest of them to like live free.
Yes.
It was like what is it? What's that term? It's Sunday. I never remember any of that philosophical term for the needs of the many kind of thing.
Yes, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or something like that.
Whatever that is.
This was in the news also. Yeah, it's that.
That's what it was. Why do we need those to come back?
It's wild. They brought back the dire wolves, but it's just gray wolves that look like dire wolves, right? Because we don't know what their thought processes are. We've never been able to observe them, right?
Yeah,
it's so different. But yeah, okay, yes.
Anyway, we'll go on a random. I think they just save species that are endangered. Anyway.
Exactly. So the funding for this research is coming from insidious means, like you said.
Yeah, and it's like well, if I put up with this, is it justified to like sacrifice 2 or 3 mammoths a year to save a whole bunch of them? And I guess that's one of the ethical questions of the book and of sustainability too. Like questions like, do you save one species to save the other if the two are in jeopardy, things like that? Because those questions I think come up sometime.
Yeah,
in real life, like if something's being destroyed, like a mine is destroying an ecosystem, like which do you fight to preserve the most? If you can't, like I don't know. It seems like there was kind of like hints towards that. Yeah, I don't know.
Some people never watch Jurassic Park and it shows.
Watch Jurassic Park.
So valid. Or they watched it and the point just went woo.
Yeah, I'm like a huge Jurassic Park fan. Like my husband and I are obsessed with watching like the Camp Cretaceous shows and Chaos Theory. We even watch those.
Nice.
My friends are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's not for children." Maybe.
Yeah, it's really it's upsetting. It's so upsetting. And it's not illogical. I feel like I can't argue with that logic because we have caused so many species to go extinct out of greed already. it's not so far, like, it's not so far-fetched that greed is the reason why certain animals would return.
Yeah. Even if they were breeding them just for like rich people to say that they have whatever species in their house or some nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
No,
I'm struggling not to go on rants about this kind of
No,
stuff.
we should. Let's go on a rant about it. Okay, wait. Okay, it's bringing us to ethical questions. So, here we go. So, Damira, I think her name is Damira.
Yes, I always mix it up. It's Demira. It is Demira.
Demira. Okay,
calling her something else the whole
is
time.
the name of the scientist whose brain is uploaded into the woolly mammoth. She is the matriarch. So here's the thing, right? We have a poacher. We have a billionaire poacher, who I guess is like the first customer, whatever, poaching the woolly mammoths. Now they are let free to roam. Is it Siberia? They're in Russia.
I think they're on the edge of it, yeah, like
Okay.
Siberia, Russia kind of thing, and that's where the preserve is. So I guess it's like a nature preserve, but it's like huge.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that ties back into what I said about like saving endangered species. It's like instead of breeding a new one in like Jurassic Park, for example, like why? Yeah, save those species that are being extinct that the ecosystem relies upon.
Exactly. Save that one. God, makes no sense. But okay, so they also give us a reason why they said they wouldn't just bring back elephants. Like, why not just bring back elephants? Because elephants were extinct in the future.
Yeah, after she dies, the last one dies out 50 years later, something like that. Yeah.
And someone said, like, well, why not just bring back elephants? And they were like, well, if we just bring back elephants, they're just going to get poached again faster than we can protect them, because they mostly live in human-centered climates, like warmer climates. And so the woolly mammoth being in Siberia, lesser population of people, less human interaction, more control. That's the
harder for them to get there too. Like you have to be used to living in cold climates to hunt there. I think it's also they're privately owned, so they actually have more money to like protect them because it's their personal investment of the people that built them versus an animal in the wild that has no money.
And the poachers who were coming to poach the woolly mammoths were Russian. So and they were also investors. So they had like very specific access.
Yeah, there was two sets. Yeah. There was the young boy and his father. They were the poachers. And then you had the trophy hunter guy.
Yeah.
And his husband coming.
Yes.
Yeah. And they were both there for like the same purpose pretty much, but different means.
Yeah.
One guy's rich and the other guys aren't.
Yeah. Sounds like an existential horror. I mean,
it actually is. It's very horrific. Yeah. I found it like very, very horrible to read at times. Especially there is a scene about animals being poached, and it's so sad. It breaks my heart.
It's sad. It's just sad.
Yeah, it's like so frustrating. And it's just like because you can't like in the stuff that they're talking about with her in her fellow anti-poaching team. The stuff that they can't stop all the poachers. It's just like something that they don't have the money for. They don't have the resources to do, and it's just like heartbreaking because you try and it's futile. And that's happening now, like in real life. And that's the horrific thing I find. It's like this isn't like something that could be happening in the future. It's like people have been poaching elephants for centuries, really. And
And more specifically, this book focuses on the ivory trade and the black market, not like people who are, doing it for cultural reasons or whatever the case is. We're talking about like excessive black market poaching.
Yeah, it's like hunting here. Like you can hunt a moose. You use all of it. You use the antlers for things like a lot of indigenous groups do. They use the whole part of the animal, and that's something that is not. That's different from trophy hunting and poaching. So I say that because like I come from a family of hunters, sustainable hunters and stuff. So I just don't want to be like, I'm not anti-hunting, I'm anti-trophy hunting and poaching. And
sustainable hunting and poaching are two very different things. The animals are a lot of parts go to waste.
Most of it,
the ecosystem is thrown out of balance because there is no regulation of when or how many, or like how like disbursement of ratio of like family or paying attention to what the like what's it called, the populace is looking like at that time, right?
Yeah, like here you have to be a hunter, you have to have, well, first of all, you have to have a license, like a gun license. Then you have to have a hunting license. It's a separate license. You have to take a course and they teach you about ethical hunting. And then you have to apply for a tag to even hunt. And they might give you one or two. And the one thing that people really covet are doe tags. And my husband actually got one a couple of years ago, a doe tag. And he was out hunting and he, a doe came by and he was like, oh, good. And then, but it had a fawn and he was like, nope. He was like, I can't do that.
Right.
Like for him, it's he does it for like a sustainability purpose. He shares it with 3 or 4 other families, the meat, and they use all of it. They use the antlers, everything. So it's interesting to me because I could never like hunt. I could never kill the animal, but I understand that he's doing something that we need to do because the deer population can get so overgrown. It destroys habitats. It destroys other animals.
And that's also a byproduct of humans inhibiting upon habitat. So it's like, there are some positives, but again, it's all about sustainability.
Yeah, because like originally, like when like I'm in Ontario, and I don't know a great deal about the history of like the Indigenous hunting around here, but like I presumably they did the same things. They maintained the numbers and they kept it in balance, and that's kind of like the point. Like if humans are still going to consider or keep eating meat, I think that's something we should be the most concerned. Is like, are we over contributing to carbon by producing too many cows, or are we, are we not hunting enough that these other species are taking over? It's like I don't think humans, we don't care enough, I think, as this culture to preserve the balance anymore. And I think that's kind of one of our biggest hurdles, I think, in climate change, is the stuff people just don't think about.
Yes, absolutely. I would definitely suggest, if you haven't read the book Eating Animals by, what's his name? Joseph something. Hold on. I would highly recommend.
Okay. There's another book that I read last year. What was it called? It was a really good one about balancing ecosystems too. I'm gonna look it up too. We can share a book title.
Yay. Okay, here it is. Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer is a really good one about the food agriculture and the meat industry and just everything that we're talking about, but more extensive. Also, make sure that your stomach can handle it because it's dark.
Oh God, I can imagine. Yeah,
it's really sad.
I don't eat like red meat very often anymore. Like I try to look at it as like it's like a special thing, like once in a while, for those reasons. And I try to make sure it's from like an ethically sourced place because hear about horror stories.
I mean, I went mostly vegetarian years ago for that reason. Like, I love animals. Like, cows are my favorite animal. I can't.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I've pretty much almost stopped. Like, I love fish still, and I won't ever stop that. But like, I try not to, and chicken, but like that's about it. And even so, I try to get like ethically sourced meat, and we're mainly vegetarian. Like my husband just likes.
We can get into this all day. And Cowspiracy is an amazing documentary.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to the book.
Yes, we talk about this forever.
It's all related, right? Okay, so here's the thing. So she's leading the matriarchy. She is a woolly mammoth. She is in the herd that is surviving in Siberia. They make it through multiple winters. Calves are being born. Everything's good. Poachers are coming. They don't know that one of those, that the matriarch has a human conscious downloaded into her brain.
Yeah.
The question is, if someone poaches her, is that she murdered her?
Yeah. I didn't even consider that question. I'm like, would they still have done it if they'd known? I don't know. I think the guy.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I think the story kind of gives us a little bit of maybe a nod to an answer when towards the end. Well, actually, let me backtrack a little bit. So here's where the conflict, one of the conflicts comes in. There's multiple conflicts in this book. Is that the mammoths are intentionally destroying tents and camps of the poachers, which is not typical practice. of animals, or like I guess of elephants or other animals that are poached, they're usually
Yeah.
going away.
They're not like, they don't think critically like that. They don't see a tent and think I should destroy this because it will prevent these people from hunting me. They just don't have that kind of connection.
Yeah.
Whereas humans do. And
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, like they can't go on the offense or defensive, I guess, in a
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, and I was always like, go mammoths, go.
Yeah, go
Ruin
with
their
it.
stuff.
Do it.
Break it all.
Yes. Well, yeah, I
Oh.
agree. Like honestly, I feel like that is a reasonable extension to people who do this who are not being sustainable, not thinking about the environment. Like it is what it is, you know?
Yeah, I think that like trophy hunters who just go after animals just to kill them should be, you know, put on trial
They
for
should
some
be tried. Yeah.
kind of murder, to be honest, because it's like you're killing something for absolutely no reason.
For no reason.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And I just think that's the wrong thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not killing something that is part of the natural process of life
Mm-hmm.
to eat it or to use its
Exactly.
parts. Yeah, I don't know.
It's excessive.
Yeah,
So
humans.
yeah,
like
I think that's a valid point. But we do. So the poachers are noticing that they're like, wait a second, the mammoths are attacking. What's going on?
It's weird.
Yeah. Which I don't think I probably should have read this part, but basically what that leads towards the climax is, I think it's the boy and his dad hunters, not the rich Russian guy. Do they all get schmurdered?
No. Are we into spoilers, I guess?
Oh, I think we're past that. I mean,
okay.
it's 100 pages. I don't know.
The Russian boy, he teams up with her.
Yeah.
And then the two other guys, I don't think Anthony was the rich guy, right? I don't think he died, but I know Vladimir decided he's going to break up with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he like saw who he really is, which is an ass.
Yeah, he said something like, even if he hadn't killed the man or tried to kill the mammoth, he would have been done with him anyway. I think it's like he even didn't have to reach that point. As soon as he saw the mammoth and saw what he was going to do, he was like, you know what? No, someone who would even try to do this, I'm done.
Yeah,
I was like, that's really interesting. I thought that was interesting too, because it was a very small part of the book. These guys, like that guy and his tragic romance, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, honestly though, I was like, honey, why did it take you coming all the way out to the middle of nowhere, Siberia, to see that this guy is an asshole?
I guess he did add a lot of stuff about how he acts differently and stuff, and this was like something he kept to himself and had never like let him know. But I think you're right. I think he was deluding himself the whole time, that he was like didn't want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And this was him like being like, no, actually, I can't hide this from myself any longer.
Yeah.
Probably should have done this a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he also mentioned, again, there's like a lot of one-off lines in these things, but they have significance.
Yeah.
So there's no fat to trim on this book. It's like,
no,
it's jam-packed.
Very pared down.
Yeah. That he said something about looking at pictures of him, his partner, and something about like not expressing joy or triumph. And I don't know if I misunderstood this, so feel free to correct me or anybody in the chat.
I remember.
The way that I interpreted that was him seeing a maliciousness, like a dropping of the veil of who he is to the world and who he is when he's committing these horrible actions.
Yeah, it's almost like that is his real personality and everything else is fake. Mm-hmm. And this is the only time he can like truly be himself, is when he's like murdering animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting.
Yeah.
There's a big critique about billionaires and stuff in this book too, which I was totally on board for.
Narcissists, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a line I really liked that I flagged. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, so he's talking about he goes on and on for a while about how much how like billionaires are isolated and all this stuff, and they're all cynical and stuff. And he says, and they hated one another. None of them thought any of the others brought any value to the planet, though they fooled themselves quite often into thinking they themselves did. And I was like, I was like, yes, exactly. They think they're so great, and it's like, no, we all hate you.
You're hoarding all the wealth and resources. Great to who?
Yeah, exactly.
Goodness gracious. So yeah, so that happens. There's some drama there. But yeah, so the little boy goes to help. I forgot how they help. I forgot how the little boy tries to help at the end, but is ultimately like, take me with you, Demira. And Demira's like, no, you must go back to humanity. Something like that. I don't know, but yeah. So he has an appreciation for the mammoths at the end, which was sweet. Let me look through my tabs and see. Did you have anything else you wanted to touch on while you look for stuff? Oh, I can't hear you. I think your mic was off.
I'm 100% muted. Sorry.
Okay.
The other one came home, so I'm like, you know what? Now I can shut the doors.
Okay.
I don't have to be like semi-parent on patrol. I'm looking through my tabs too. There was something.
Let me see.
There's something about culture that I thought was really interesting, and I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that or not.
Which
Because
part?
it was. So he said something about how. Where was it? God, I had it somewhere. Something like, I think it was Vladimir was talking about how he's Russian, but he hasn't never lived in Russia. His grandparents were Russian, but his parents were in the States, I guess.
Okay.
And he talks about how he's expected to like participate in this culture, but he feels like an interloper. He doesn't feel like he's part of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really interesting. So something interesting because like I kind of feel the same. Like I'm in the same situation in terms of like generations. Like my grandparents grew up in Germany. My parents grew up here. I live here and I don't speak German. I barely do I do like 2 cultural traditions. And so I'm just like, I'm wondering about that. Like, no, I don't have a definitive answer. I don't even really know what I'm trying to ask, but I'm like, I think that's really interesting, especially with people moving around the world more often now. It's like, how do people maintain these cultures? And is it still, are you still part of the same culture if you've never ever even been to the home country? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't know. Do you think, I thought that was interesting. I don't know. Maybe I was the only one that thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's the interesting part of being part of a diaspora.
Yeah.
Is maintaining that culture. I mean, culture changes over time with interaction with others, right? With the sharing of culture, the mixing of cultures. But what's interesting about his situation is that he's returning there, I don't think with the intention of gaining culture, but extracting from it through his poaching.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. I'm trying to remember what his deal
he was there specifically with the goal of contributing to the ivory black market.
Oh, I'm not talking about that boy and his father.
Oh,
I'm talking about the other guy, the husband of the trophy hunter.
Oh, got it.
That guy, he was talking about that, I'm pretty sure. Because I think, he was explaining, I don't know, it was also a very small part of the book, and I just didn't feel like it. Oh, it was on page 23.
Which one?
I'm trying to scroll through it without taking me forever. He says something about He says like he feels like he's visiting. It's the first time I think he's been there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says like it's bringing up a lot of memories. And then he's like, but not my memories. It feels like he's bringing up their memories. Like he's disturbing a grave. He said like his family is urban people. He's like, I've never set foot in this place before. And he's like, he had fantasies of coming here and feeling like he belonged, and then he doesn't. And I thought that was I just thought it was an interesting kind of way to look at it. It'd be like him feeling like he's not part of his own culture anymore. And it's I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting. It didn't really have a lot to do with the rest of the book. It just was kind of in there. And I was like, is he trying to be part of the billionaire culture too? Like he doesn't feel like he belongs there either. Like this guy, is that like his deal? Is he doesn't feel like he belongs anywhere?
I mean, if he ended up staying with the billionaire guy, he would have been part of billionaire culture.
Yeah, that's true. So,
but But there is something interesting that happens when someone, I mean, I'm just speaking from my own experience and being in a diaspora and then taking a step onto the homeland of this feeling of in-betweenness, right? Of like, I belong here, but I'm not I'm of here, but not from here.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. And it's this weird.
It's weird because I feel like I've been to Germany a couple times and I didn't feel that too much though, but everyone over there pretty much speaks English. And like, so it's not like there's a big, and like, the cultures that I'm in a very kind of like European white kind of culture here too. So it's like, it's not like there's a big culture shock either. There's nothing I go over there and I'm surprised by, right? Whereas if I come from another culture and I'd gone there and not known about certain things, I think it would have been a lot different.
Yeah. Yeah. The culture shock can be different.
Yeah. It's interesting. Cause I've never really thought about that before, given I don't have that kind of background.
That sounds like what he was talking about, but also I feel like that's a big topic to bring into this teeny little book.
That's why I was like, did I read into this too much? Like,
no, I don't think you did. Kat says I didn't hold. Yeah, the only name I remember.
Vlad was the boyfriend of the billionaire. I think Anthony was the billionaire. I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm going on you because I don't remember.
I think so. I can check. I can scroll through it.
Other question is, Vlad knew what the hunting party was about. Why did it discuss him when they were in the middle of hunting the mammoths? That's my question. I feel like it goes back to them being delusional. There's some people who they don't think about the unethical practices of people who do things or lead a lifestyle like his boyfriend until they're actually in it.
Yeah, I think it's like he didn't realize how bad it was. Almost like he didn't understand that it was as horrific as he kind of maybe didn't want to see. Like, I think he was honestly hiding a lot of it from himself and didn't want to admit that it was like I think what his hope was, he'd go there and be like, oh, it's not a big deal. This is fine. Or I think deep down he knew this was like this might change everything kind of thing.
Yeah. I feel like that's not surprising to me. I feel like a lot of people who don't take issue with billionaires are in that same category of like, they're not going to believe it until it actually affects them.
Yeah, like willful kind of delusion, willful kind of like blindness towards the things that are important to a lot of other people.
Absolutely. So like, again, same thing. I'm like, you, by nature of what he does for a living and who he is as a person, I didn't need to go to Siberia to know he's an asshole, but okay.
Maybe we were just hoping that he could like keep his lavish lifestyle and not feel ethically challenged by it. But then he realized he's probably like, I will become just as bad as him if I continue on this practice. Yeah. And so I think it was good. I think it was good to see that people can realize that and break away from it. I think that was a hopeful thing from this whole book. Yeah. But it was kind of like, he is kind of an idiot for not realizing it at a time.
Oh, you know what though? On the culture thing, if I remember correctly, there was something about like when thousands of years ago, when woolly mammoths were present, so were early peoples, right?
That's true, because they were like the tail end of like the dinosaur kind of thing. They were the Ice Age. They weren't dinosaurs. They were separate. Yeah. People always put them as with the dinosaurs, but they really weren't.
They're not.
They're not even close. Yeah.
Yeah. So because early peoples had a relationship of some kind with woolly mammoths, I wonder if that's like where he was going with that, and like his great ancestors were probably the ones likely interacting with the mammoths, and so it could be assumed that there should be a relationship there between the people and the mammoths.
That's his real culture. Is the Ice Age people.
Is the Ice Age. Yes,
he's like, I'm going to skip my grandparents' generation and go back to my great.
So maybe, I don't know, or maybe I don't know if I'm pulling too much out of that. But
no, I think that makes sense. That sounds really interesting to me. Like, like he feels more in common with the man once he's out on the tundra, and he's like, oh, I'm connecting with something that is part of my past that I can understand. Is like because it's tangible, versus the city doesn't feel tangible to him because he doesn't have that kind of a cultural connection, but he can be connected to like the land part of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Hey, what else is there? Let me see. There's so much in this darn book.
I'm trying to think of anything else. I really liked the little twist at the end where she said her uncle had brought her the little stuffed elephant, and then in the end she realized it was a mammoth. I was like, oh my god, full circle.
It was so cute.
Wait, it was brown. Actually, it was a mammoth, and I was like, oh, interesting. I don't know. I thought that was a fun little like. It didn't need. You didn't need to include that, but I was like, I thought it was so fun.
But still cute. And then she basically grows off into the sunset.
Yeah,
The mammoths.
yeah. She's like, oh, mammoth now.
Yeah. So it's not. I don't think it's really like that. This book ends with a answer
No, yeah,
of any kind to anything. But just like in the end, these people have learned to gain a respect for these creatures, and unfortunately, we had to send a human to be that ambassador.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like the book is like a warning, being like, you know, we're gonna wipe out all the animals. Things are gonna get worse with the technology if we don't curb it. And I thought the use of technology in the book of like the drones and all of the way that the poachers were so tech oriented was like really interesting. As you just picture people kind of like walking around with a shotgun in the bush.
Yeah.
It's like even now they're using drones and all this stuff to hunt them down. It's like, is there something to be done about that?
Yeah. How are the animals ever going to outpace technology? They can't.
No, it's crazy. And the animals, the more that we expand, the more they're going to get pushed into our urban settings, and people think that they're the ones trespassing, and it's like, no, we're the ones. We're ruining their habitat. Like a giant coyote walked down my street last summer, and my kids were outside getting ready to go to camp, and I saw this thing, and I was like, is that a dog? I was like, holy shit, that is not a dog. I was like, guys, get in the van. I was like, get in the van, because I didn't know if it was a rabbit or something.
Yeah.
And I told the city, I'm like, there's a giant coyote just wandering around in the daytime.
Yeah,
I said, can you please put it back in the conservation where it's supposed to be? But I was like, of course it's wandering around. It's looking for food, probably.
Yeah.
Or water or something. I felt bad for it as much as I was like, oh my God.
Scary.
My dog, it was massive.
Yeah.
And it was so weird because I'd never seen one kind of just out in the open like that before. I've heard them in the woods, but like I was like, oh, they do. You can tell it wasn't a dog.
Like something's off.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, there was that whole what happened to Demira in the past with the person that they were, what is their name?
There was a couple, there were two kind of friends.
Yeah.
They were both murdered too, right?
Yes.
Everyone was murdered.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, brutally. But
more murders in this book than most novels.
Yeah.
I can't remember their names.
They were trying to protect the elephants, and I think they approached a poacher encampment, and then
it was Musa was one, and Wamugunda, I think
so.
Those are the two names I'm seeing on this page at the start, so it must have been them.
Yeah, and so it's alluded to throughout the book of like something horrific happened to them, and she's also thinking about them in the past.
Oh yeah, so Musa was killed by a sniper, and then it said 2 years later, Wamuganda was killed at the wheel of his Range Rover by an artillery shell placed in a national park's dirt road, and then she was murdered a year later.
Yeah, so the poachers were poaching them.
The humans, for stopping them from poaching.
Right, for trying to do the right thing.
It shows how bad poachers are, I think. This is the intention. Whether poachers are actually doing that now, I don't know, but I mean, I wouldn't put it against them. But it definitely is kind of showing like that's the extent people will go to protect stuff that they want to steal, I guess.
Yeah.
Please send the guns.
What I understood was that it was a safety mechanism that the scientists
her consciousness was downloaded. It had something to do with her university, yeah.
I don't remember.
I know, and I don't know if I could find it quickly. Like,
hold on,
scrolling through.
There was something to do with her DNA being recognized. And so it would not fire at her.
There's a chapter 5, I think, is talking about it. I'm just scrolling through. Okay.
Oh, here we go. There was a long silence, and then Anthony said, I tried to, bang, but it wouldn't fire. No, Dr. Aslanov said. It was built to know her shape, a fail-safe. It wouldn't fire on her or any female. That was Constantine's idea. He was also wiser than me and less trusting of people.
So the gun, that's why they gave him a special gun, because it had some kind of it was like coded to not fire when she was in range. Okay.
Yeah. So the people who were given permission to poach were given fail safes in case they were being irresponsible.
Yeah, or decided to go after a target they weren't allowed to go after. Like if they decided to shoot. I wonder if they had that particular thing for the like the juveniles too, like the juvenile mammoths too. Like if they can't shoot the female ones or the juveniles, and then her, obviously.
Well,
I
don't know. It
says
you
would think so.
I would think so, but I don't know if that's answered. But it says here, so he looked at the side of Anthony's face. It didn't matter that Anthony had not been able to,
Yeah, that was the thing I was remembering from before. Yeah, that he had, even if he'd been able to do it.
Yeah, it was enough that he wanted to. The trigger had been pulled. He wanted to right up until the end. That click, even though it was followed by silence and not destruction, had ended everything between them. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So again, the author plugging loopholes.
Yeah, and this stuff is explained as so much later too. Sometimes he'll explain things like before, and then it comes up later, or it'll explain things like 20 pages after it happened, and you're like, okay, that's why.
Yep. So that was fascinating.
I can't imagine trying to write. I think why I like books like this is that I always get so impressed. I'm like, how do they plot this? Like, how do they write it all in order and then move things around? I'm just so fascinated by the process of these kind of very intricate, very pared down stories.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like that's everything I have to say about it.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. It's so tiny. There's so much.
Cool. But definitely check it out. I am interested in reading the other book that this author wrote, which is I think Mountain in the Sea.
Yeah. We should put it on in the book club.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So I'm down. They seem like a very smart author. So
yeah,
I'm here for that. Okay. Yay, we did it.
Oh.
Yay. Okay, so if you guys want to join us next month to read I Got Abducted by Aliens and I'm Trapped in a Rom-Com, feel free to join the Discord. Link is in the description. Also follow Tina and our other hosts who pop in and out. And yeah.
I've got a book coming for you on I think that's how you spell it. This is a sustainability book if you're interested.
Oh, sustainability book.
It starts out a little bit depressing, but then it gets very here's what we can do.
Cool, I love that.
Yeah, there's an audiobook too. It's really good.
Nice. So. Regenesis by Georgie Meal.
I put Georgie. It's supposed to be George. Oh, I spelled it wrong.
That's okay.
Oh my God. George I think Monbiot. There we go.
George Monbiot. Okay.
Cool. And it's Regenesis, feeding the world without devouring the planet. So it's all about,
nice.
Yeah, it's all about food sustainability and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Awesome. Yay.
Yeah. Gotta plug environmental stuff.
Yay, environmentalism. Okay, guys, I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
Woo! All right, we will catch you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.